secretary position. According to him, you lobbied for it. How true is that?
That's lame. That's lame. That's lame.
You know, in all honesty, at times it's not necessary. Answering back to people that you know that are sick. You know, a lot of people do not understand that the so-called TINUBU is now suffering from a degenerative mental disease.
What I like about this guy is that I don't even know it's different to separate when he's acting and when he's serious. To be honest with you, there are a lot of things he says that I don't agree with, but there are some things that he says, I mean, meant for comedy, that I just feel like maybe, well, I agree with what he says.
That is making him to be autistic at his age. You know, this disease will make you to fabricate something that is non-existent and postulate it as if it is a fact. Now, let's look at it this way. First of all, I have never had any meeting in my life between P2B, Catch on Onuji, and myself. Never. You know, even a lot of journalists are really of low IQ. Anyway, with the advent of this social media, and everybody is now claiming to be a journalist.
I agree with that one, yeah.
I wonder why they did not even ask him, please, were you there with P2B when Kenneth Okonkwo ever lobbied him for any office? Because I have never lobbied P2B for any office whatsoever. So I wonder what brought such fabrication. But I understand, because like I told you, I am aware that he's suffering from a degenerative mental disease that is now
episode 1 of the whole show,
making him to be an adult, you know, autistic fellow. Now,
what?
Let me ask you, is it not ridiculous? Somebody is already a presidential spokesperson, and you said he went to the same person that he is speaking for to lobby to be a publicity secretary of a failed political party, because he said after the election, not even before the election. He said after the election. Does it make sense? Now, who is that person that want to go and lobby the person you're already serving for another post of a lower quality? Let me ask, please, being a presidential spokesperson and being the publicity secretary of a failed political party, which one is greater? No, if you check this government now, which one is higher? And somebody sat down and fabricated something, and people are even listening to him. Okay, now let's even listen to that catch on Andrew interview. In that same interview, he said he was the one who brought Hope Uzodinma to contest for election. Can you imagine a rat like that? An old horse like Hope Uzodinma. Meanwhile, Hope Uzodinma is APC. He said he's still a member of PDP, meaning he was playing double APC, PDP. And he said he works for P2B. That's Labour Party. So, Catch on Onuji alone is with APC, PDP, Labour Party.
Well, we need to go and listen to where all that happened, but it is what it is.
At the same time, and you're listening to such political jobber. Now, he said Kenneth Okonkwo met them. Met you where? Because you were never, from your own analysis, you were never a member of Labour Party. Met you where? And you can imagine such empty barrel that is making the most noise, saying he was part of it that formed the obedient movement. Can you imagine? He does not even understand what the movement is. Otherwise, he wouldn't even say he was part of the one that formed the obedient movement. Was an organic movement that sprang up on its own,
Maybe.
growing up everywhere because of the dissatisfaction of the people
I agree with
against
that.
the existing order.
I agree with that.
And one man that, like I said, that is mentally challenged is coming to tell lies. Fabrication.
Damn.
I said I have never had any meeting whatsoever between three of us for life. It never existed. They should have asked him, were you there when Kenneth Okonkwo was lobbying people? Have you ever had any meeting whatsoever? Three of you only. But people will just sit down and talk absolute nonsense. But here is the problem. How is it that people are lying with P2B's name? And P2B will hear such a thing publicly and will not react to it and will not call them to order publicly.
No. So again, like I've been saying that Peter Obi needs to be more strategic when it comes to tweeting and talking and all of that. So I don't expect Peter Obi to respond to everything that he hears about himself, especially when it has to do with you, because really it's politics. If Peter Obi replies to everything, I'm even saying Peter Obi's response should always be measured. So he wouldn't come to respond to that because he's above that level, right? This guy should have his eyes on the target, which is presidency. So if two of his boys are fighting, I mean, why should he respond to that?
You
guys should
can never
yourself.
use me, Kenneth Okonkwo, to lie against P2B, no matter the situation. Once you bring it publicly, because I detest lies. If it is not true, I will come out publicly to debunk it. So why has P2B not debunked such useless lie that somebody is lying with his name? It shows a leader that cannot even defend the truth or defend people who have even worked for him.
What?
These are the kind of problems that P2B has, attracting even street urchins, classless street urchins. So we will buy you there. I saw another classless street urchin of the Kuke. So Kuke level, no Kuke.
When what this guy talk is like, it's even more interesting than watching him act, in his Nollywood capacity. Like
those rabies infested, dogs that anything you do, because they are ill-bred, they are very ill-mannered, ill-tempered street urchins. These are kind of followers that he's attracting now.
what?
Okay, we buy you there. What was that? What's so great we buy you there? I don't know what it is. But this, can you imagine?
So again, I don't like the way this guy is saying that, these are the kind of people Obi is attracting. I know in a way they could be salty, but for you to classify, and that's the difference between, the politics that we play and what Obedient brought into the polity, right? Before then it was always TINUBU attacking Jonathan, and you could see all the tweets. But right now with Obedient, nobody, they attack Adeboye, attack everybody, Kumuyi, attack anybody, Adefarasi. Even Pojo Emade has given Obi platform in previous times. They attack him, they attack everybody. Nobody is beyond, they've attacked everybody. And again, that's why I tell people that I understand the old phrase that you have to speak truth to those in power. But at the same time, also, I think it's also important that you need to have the courage to speak truth to those that seems to be not powerful, because it works both ways. It's easy to come out and say, TINUBU is a criminal. Hey, these guys are bad. His ideas are easy. Execution is painful. Most of these guys, in their own personal life, they've not even been able to achieve anything. But they can always come out and tell you this is how you run the government. Maybe you run a political party first. Maybe you run a local government first. And I'm not mentioning Showore here, but I'm just saying.
A society that under leaders are attracting distinguished people. The people you are attracting are street urchins of the people that fabricate things that are non-existing. If there is anybody who is a political jobber, who is eating from both PDP, APC, LP, is Kajononuju. So how can I meet somebody in a movement and in a political party that he's not a member? And he confessed, he said that he's still a member of PDP. Is then he's still a serious politician who is still a member of PDP? And then he is coming to call Kenneth Okonkwo unashamedly. Please, there is nothing wrong whatsoever in lobbying for any political post if you're a politician. So if I lobbied for any, I'll be bold enough to say I lobbied for this post. It's not a crime. What is wrong with it? When I left Labour Party, I was bold enough to speak out on the reason that I left Labour Party. I said, look, anarchy is going to come into this party.
And it's right. And I appreciate him for that, because he truly immediately left. He was not hiding it. And I know that before he left, he actually went to meet Obi. tried to salvage the political situation. And again, I said it then that Obi was actually leaving this big asset, which he had, which was healthy. He was leaving this asset to waste. Like it was meant to strategize how to take over that party. Who is a Papa? Who is a Bure? Who is this other one? He should have stepped in. And people are like, no, it's democracy. Okay, it's democracy. He shouldn't have waited in now. Okay, so why are you asking for automatic tickets? It should be democracy now. That's how they misled the guy. Now we don't even know where he stands with respect to LP and ADC. And it's becoming like you had that big asset, 6 million people. All those days when you sat down in court, wasting your time on saying TINUBU shouldn't have been the president because there was a 460,000 in Chicago and he didn't go to university this and that. Vice President Shetima shouldn't have been given the ticket. I was like, dude, you have so much asset on your hand. All these people that voted for you, the emotions were still high. Why don't you get into the party, take over the party, which is LP, and start working on your successive elections? And everything now is just like, I don't know, bro. I don't even know. I don't know what he wants to do. But it's been painful to see that this opposition that should have been really vibrant just went down. Like, where are those people that won under the LP canopy in the House of Rep, in the Senate? Where are they today? What are they doing? What are they doing differently?
Because people who are supposed to take decision have refused to take decision. And since they've refused to take decision, I have no business remaining there. Because I don't like to join on serious organizations. I made it public. And by then, this level of anarchy has not even come. Meaning people now know that I'm saying the truth. So do you think it is giving up being a presidential spokesperson? I gave it up. I didn't have any political party. I didn't have any politician for months. And I said, if there's no new arrangement, no new alignment, no new coalition that will give Nigerians alternative and that can give the ruling party a run for their money, I will not be part of 2027. And somebody is saying you went to lobby for publicity secretary of a failed political party. Let me tell you the closest I came to about leadership of Labour Party. There is a member of the House of Representatives, and he's still alive now. During that convention, he came to me. He said, look, if Abure is not going to run or is not interested in the convention, there are only two persons he's interested in to be the national chairman of Labour Party. He said, you, Kenneth Okonkwo. And he mentioned one other person from the north. And I told him, say, look, if you ever sat down and contemplated Kenneth Okonkwo to be national chairman of Labour Party, then that means you don't even like P2B to be president. How would
because of the arrangement.
How would it suit that somebody from Southeast will be national chairman and we want to push another person from the Southeast to be president? I said, don't even mention it again. I said, I am going to support a Northerner to be national chairman because that balancing is what's going to suit the candidacy of everybody. He's still alive. So if I rejected even the idea of being a national chairman, then somebody who thinks he wants to trend with the name of Kenneth Okonkwo, the big cheap name, will now come to say that me lobbied for publicity secretary of a failed political party. Even if he's brilliant, he would have even said something that is believable. Because I cannot leave being a presidential spokesperson, which is a higher office, and start lobbying the same person I am speaking for a failed publicity secretary of a failed political party. This is ridiculous. So please, I wouldn't have even loved to reply to this, but if I didn't say anything, people would think maybe there's even a sense in what he was saying. All the journalists that ever repeated such nonsense, I regard them as classless, low IQ journalists. Because they couldn't even ask him certain questions. I don't even need to reply to such a thing because a lie is standing on its face.
Wow.
So please, I don't normally honestly reply to such liars. Let them continue following their kind of leader that they are just.
All right. Let's move on. What's your take on the president's independence speech to Nigerians? And how do you react to that?
It is very sad that President Tinubu's speeches, almost all of them,
How does
are
that mean?
now becoming a propaganda machine. 100% propaganda. No
How?
element of truth.
No. But the president put out numbers. You have to tell us which of the one is propaganda. That's what politicians do. Now, if you're not able to point to certain factors or certain numbers or certain facts, they just say all of them. Which one? Is it the security part? Is it the reforms that they agree that the reform was brutal and painful and that it was just necessary that he had to do that? Is it the GDP numbers that he gave you numbers, specific numbers, the growth numbers, the IMF projection? He gave you all of those. So which one is propaganda? That's the problem I have with these politicians.
No element of substance. None. It's unfortunate that any time now you sit down, you want to listen to the president talk, what you'll be hearing is complete braggadocio, complete propaganda, devoid of substance, devoid of truth. And making such broadcasts when people are suffering and dying out of.
I made mention of that too. And again, I'm not a spokesman for TINUBU, and I wouldn't be, because I believe that there are places where you could criticize him. But he also said that these reforms were necessary and that, they're trying as much as possible to relieve people's stuff. I don't know if that's propaganda, but I mean, the numbers are the numbers. People are still suffering from the reforms, but I don't think that you just call me like, give us your own numbers, give us your own stats, give us what you, and that's what Obi had done yesterday, when he did a rebuttal of what Tinubu was saying.
And hardship is disheartening. Throughout the whole speech, did you hear him mention how much Nigeria is owing now? Nigeria is owing $100 billion. Plus about 100.
No, but he mentioned the debt service ratio. If you don't understand what debt service ratio means, is how much you're using to service your debt divided by this thing. I mean, you're coming out to give us some amount of what Nigeria is owing in relation to what,
Around 50 trillion naira.
I'll keep quiet.
And Tinubu borrowed almost half of this amount within 2 years. And he's telling you about economy improving. Everything his government is doing now is based on rebasing. Because they cannot stand up with the truth of the facts. They'll tell you they have rebased the GDP. They'll tell you they have rebased the inflation in order to manipulate the figures. Let me tell you the hoax that has become this government. Part of the propaganda they used to come into government is that by 2030 they will make Nigerian economy $1 trillion economy. After they are rebasing, Nigerian economy, the GDP is about $243 billion. The president is touting that the GDP has increased by 4.23%. 4.23% of the GDP. Give them even $280 billion. Dash them that, because at times they would issue the propaganda that is $280 billion. Because basically it's about 372 point something trillion naira, which is about $243 billion. But give them even $280 billion. Growing at the rate of 4.24%, meaning each year there will be a growth of about $11.9 billion. In 5 years, it will be about $60 billion. If you add that to $280 billion, it will be about $340 billion by 2030. Not even up to about 30% of the propaganda that this government is deceiving people about. $1 trillion. 2030, creating false hopes,
The 4.32 was just for this quarter. Okay, let's get that straight. And that's because the projection is that when you have your coastal stuff, when you have your FX done, when you have free direct investment coming, one way or the other, you could start to see that growth happen. Again, I'm still waiting to see how that will be done. So I'm not trying to push propaganda here, but again, you cannot just use one quarter results to extrapolate to the whole population. So maybe the idea is after this year, there will be other places where you have much more growth expected in the future. But again, it's a plan. There's nothing bad in having a plan. There's nothing bad in saying they want it to be a 1 trillion by 2030. And you could actually see from the reforms, things are gradually now stabilizing. I'm still expecting where there will be that turbocharged economy, possibly maybe in 2026 or 2027. But again, when you have recovery, it takes a while before you start seeing that effect. It's easy to destroy, it's difficult to build.
False impression. Look at that speech. Did not even pay condolences to the hundreds that were massacred in Katsina, in Zamfara, worshiping God. And he's a Muslim.
I agree with that. And I said it yesterday that I'm giving TINUBU like a 0 when it comes to security. Right? Nowhere I said, look at what happened in Kwara State this week. Just this week, Kwara State. There was this documentary where the guy filmed the whole church that houses like 1,000 worshippers. And it was deserted on a Sunday afternoon. There was no trace of life in that Kwara State community just this week. All of them have moved. So when you're saying that you're trying to tackle insecurity in the Northeast and Northwest, are they the same set of people moving over to the Southwest, creating some kind of wildfire here and there with respect to terrorism? So that's a question. That's what I'm asking. So in terms of security, I'm not happy with the TINUBU's administration. Are they doing a lot? Possibly, yes. But is it yielding a lot of results that is expected? I don't think so. Just this week again, you had the issue with robbery attack in Abuja, where this lady, Arise TV host, died. So it's just unfortunate, to be honest with you.
He picked another fellow Muslim ticket. Muslims dying in droves. Nothing to signify the level of security. And you can see how the young Somto Chukwu Maduago was murdered.
Yeah.
As a result of the insecurity problem. That is why people will tell you that when it comes to insecurity, you can't allow a criminal's 1% success.
100%.
Because that 1% success can lead to irreparable, irreplaceable loss, which will be 100% to the people that are the victims of this. The young Sumto was massacred and died. The president could not recognize such terrible loss in a broadcast.
I agree.
29-year-old lawyer, my learned colleague. And broadcasting is part of.
Again, I kind of understand, like maybe not recognizing her by name, because if the president had gone ahead to recognize her by name, then the question then would come from the same people that, they're recognizing her by name because she's part of the elite in the society. So, but then he should have recognized at least those bandits, like those cases in Kwara State, those cases in the Northeast or Northwest, wherever. He should have recognized that. But he did recognize the soldiers that are laying out their lives every day Because to be honest, we can sit down here and say, oh, things are bad, things are bad. There are people that are dying, freaking dying every day to make sure that this insurgency is repelled. And again, I would say that the genesis of this insurgency actually started shortly, I think, from when the PDP were in power. Let's not forget that. That doesn't give TINUBU a less of an hard opinion on that one. No, I'm just saying. If we're going to recognize that, we should know that the person you're supporting, the party you're supporting right now, or the people you're supporting right now also are complicit in this matter.
The general entertainment, in a way. They educate, they inform. And yet you have a president that is dishing out propaganda in the name of broadcast on an independent, on an independent celebration. Now, what are the contents of his speech? He told you that inflation has gone down to 20 point something %. Rebased. Please, has the cost of fuel per liter gone down? Has the cost of PMS, which is powering the whole inflation determination, has it gone down? Where did they get that figure from? Rebased.
No. So I'll give him this one because he's a lawyer. Okay, when they say inflation has gone to a 20%, that doesn't mean that that the price has gone down. This is what we're saying. If inflation was 30% and you have something like 100 naira, okay, at 30% inflation, it just becomes 130. Okay, now at 20% inflation, it means that it's 20% times the 130. You have to add that 20% times 130, okay, which is $26 to that 130. That makes it 156. So again, I'm going to allow him to go here because he's a lawyer and maybe doesn't really understand economics. So it doesn't mean that price will come down. And again, when it comes to petrol price, let's be sincere with ourselves. Nigerian petroleum price is one of the cheapest in the world. What we were doing during all these years of subsidy, Buhari, Jonathan, and all that, it was that we were actually paying it forward such that one day will come that the future generation will be the one bearing the responsibility of the cheap petroleum price that we were having in all those previous years. So right now, all of what we're paying, all what we're suffering right now emanates from that. I'm not even talking about the impact of corruption. Now, when you now add corruption to it, it becomes what? Humongous. Now, you could say, oh, but the politicians have been benefiting all this while. They're not making any sacrifices. That's also a valid point, but I just want to put it out there.
The only ones that have gone down are the ones that they harmfully ordered their importation. Rice, maize, and another crop. They imported it in order to create the impression that things are not going haywire. So if you go to the market, you see the prices of all those ones that are not being imported still very high and has even gone up. And then those ones that they are now importing the expired rice and all those things. Because they say these are some of the rice that they've stored abroad for more than 10 years. Why make the farmers to go and suffer under the security to produce and they cannot sell now because you have ordered importation when you know that the prices are going haywire? Unhealthy.
Well, fair point.
And it's the president that is telling you things are improving. If people are not dying in your village because of hunger and hardship, they are dying in my village in Soka because of hunger and hardship. So all those talk, they are simply bewitching Nigeria. I have said it before. And whatever APC says about itself is a lie. But they have upgraded now from the level of lies to the level of bewitchment through enchantments. That's what they're doing. Falsehood is no longer enough. They've now grown to enchantment so that they can bewitch. Now, what was the president saying? In the economy, he wants to let you know that non-oil export is improving. On what? Okay, let's start from revenue. By August, he said they have collected all the revenue. From where? Extorting the people through higher taxes through higher tariffs? What are they producing that will make the revenue to increase?
Wow.
Tinubu's government is serving the powerful, not the people. Can you imagine?
Enough.
In that speech,
Yeah.
he said they have shared 330 billion naira in social investment program. To who? They say 8 million homes. They say 25,000 per month. Some have received 2 months. Where are they? People are moving.
Okay, that's the question too. Like, where are these people, right? And someone was saying that Nigerians are wicked. Like, are there people collecting that money and they're not coming on social media to talk? I know the Nile Fund, we've been seeing few people come out to say, oh, we got this Nile Fund from the Tinubu's administration and all of that. But again, the number he reeled out was like 500,000. And we had few people there. If that's the truth, that 500,000 people have benefited from Nile Fund, and it's just all these few people coming out to do videos, then Nigerians themselves are wicked. 500,000, it's a lot of numbers, except Tinubu is lying. Except they're cooking the numbers, which, I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not. But,
more into poverty, and you're saying you're sharing money. But here is the annoying thing. They have shared 332 billion unaccounted money to people that probably some of them have died so long ago. Because to me, in my own opinion, they're just sharing that money amongst themselves. Recalling what happened, that EFCC is investigating that ministry. One person being found to be cutting away 40 billion naira. Tinubu's humanitarian minister, within days or weeks of operating as a minister, billions, 3.2 billion then was brought out. And they said that we are going to give 500 and something million to 4 states. And almost 3 billion was used, they say, consultancy fee. You will see a minister getting as big as 400 and something million. They say consult.
I hate this so-called subsidy or trying to help people thing. Not that you don't want to help people, but the problem I have with all of this is that at the end of the day, when you give government so much power and they're so big, there will always be fraud. That's why I was really happy that we could get away with subsidy, although there's the argument that maybe we're still paying it in one form or the other. But again, what was happening, and that thing started during Yar'Adua's administration, and I'm talking about when it scaled. When Yar'Adua was sick and you had the cabals, they entrenched the subsidy scam. When Jonathan came in, there was nothing he could do. They just trained those guys. That's why Alison Madueke is no longer in the country today. And then they voted for Buhari, thinking that Buhari will have a lot of brain and will to stem the thing. And then the thing was now it went full throttle under Buhari, and that was crazy. So when it comes to we're sharing money, we're helping people, I understand we have to help people, but again, the cost is always really, really ridiculously high. Hopefully we can get to the bottom.
To tell us how many number of poor people in the States. So that money you saw, in my own opinion, is being shared among the powerful.
Allegedly.
And the people who are students in the name of Nile Fund, in the name of Youth Credo, was it Youth Credo? Or what do you call it? Corporation Credo, Youth Credo. They say they are lending money to youths. They will borrow to youths, lend to youths, lend to industries. But they will bring money in the name of social investment program and share among the powerful in the name of sharing it to homes. Assuming you're even sharing it to homes, you're teaching them to eat fish. So after 3 months, what?
Exactly.
What would each person
Exactly.
use?
But again, to be fair to Tinubu, at that point, he stopped the whole program. Now, maybe they've also brought in some other programs to replace that. To be honest with you, trying to do all that just doesn't make sense. And to be honest, it just doesn't make sense.
After 3 months. No, what can 25,000 naira afford you? If you had used that 330 billion naira, for instance, in power, you know what it would have done? It will help most of those homes you're seeing to be able to start doing something, and their children from their house, because there is availability of power. If Awolowo is alive today, he will use that money and provide free education to the children, not borrowing money to the indigent students. He said they have borrowed about 140 or thereabout billion naira. They have borrowed to indigent students to go to school through NEL fund. They will still come back to pay. Yet you're sharing. If you don't have money to provide education, healthcare, then you're sharing money among the powerful. So all those revenue you're seeing is more extortion from Nigerian people. A president heartlessly removed subsidy, and he's saying that it is only the very few corrupt people that we are gaining from subsidy. What a lie. When you remove subsidy, the poor people that are using fuel across Nigeria started paying 1,000 naira almost, instead of the 195 naira they were paying. And you're saying they are not benefiting from it. No. Nigerians, we are benefiting. But here is the catch. I have never supported retaining the subsidy. But what I was fighting for is removing the corruption in the subsidy. And when you do it,
see, no way. OB even said it was going to remove it. Article said it was going to remove it. The problem with removing the corruption is that you had two choices. Number one, just follow after those stealing the money, okay? And good luck with that. Good luck with that. Because you're going to spend another 4 years trying to figure out who are those stealing the money, knowing that these people are already sophisticated. You could do that. That's an option. Or you make it free market. I will go with a free market, because now I don't need to actually build cost with respect to following after corrupt subsidy. I don't need to have people that will be bribed, because they did our investigation in 2011, 2012 with Farouk Lawan. Farouk Lawan became complicit and became corrupt. We don't have the report as of date. There was an Ig Mokwede report that Otedola is even saying they should release right now. So again, that's the problem. When you're not faced with that decision, it's easy to say, "Oh, I'm going to remove the subsidy in a systematic form." No, I believe stemming it out completely. And I know it was brutal, and I know people were hurt because of that. That's the only way you could stem that corruption in that subsidy. So I don't agree with what he's saying here, because number one, people have tried it. I mean, Buhari, who we thought was this less corrupt guy, subsidy became worse even under his own presidency.
The price will come down immediately. What has been happening is higher prices, not that they gave any subsidy whatsoever. Incompetence and corruption is what has been happening.
No. When you do the maths, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. When you do the maths, there's actually subsidy. Let's not fool ourselves. Even use normal purchasing power parity, use normal exchange rate. It's just it. The price, and again, when you even look at the price globally, Nigeria price as it is today is still lower when you match it. Now, you could argue that, oh, what about the standard of living in this area, in that country, or this other country? That's not the case, because the case is this. The base, which is the crude oil, already has a base price. So even if your salary is lower, the crude oil that is being processed in Nigeria is approximately the same crude oil that is being produced anywhere in the world. With Nigerian own, I would even argue, should be more expensive because of the quality of our crude oil.
In the first place, why? Oil is our product that is running like water for us. Your own is just to scoop it, and rather than scooping it and boiling it, look, refining is one of the cheapest, the easiest thing to do. Why am I saying this? If all these young boys in the Niger Delta has acquired the technology and they are refining oil in their backyard, and we don't have any cry that there is fake oil, that means Nigerians have acquired the know-how to refine oil, rather than empowering these children, telling them, come out, teaching them how to do things without pollution, so that you will have refineries everywhere like we used to have it in the Southeast those days, those of palm oil. Every home was producer of oil. That was why it was surplus and was sustaining the. What is wrong in making oil the same thing? Teaching them the technology. It is their product. They are entitled to benefit from it.
Well, I kind of agree with what he's saying here because, again, I've been saying it. Dangote Refinery, and I know that there's this guy, what's it called? Is it Rabiu, the chairman of BUA, right? I see he's also building a refinery. I agree that you should have other players in that industry. It's a security risk to have just Dangote himself, just Dangote alone producing oil. But again, I give it to him because he's the one that has really embarked on that Gangantom project. But I also agree that you should allow other players into the field. Because right now, Dangote sacks 800 workers. The whole country has to go to a standstill because of Penguson and Dangote's fights. I'm still thinking you should have more players. After that Boa guy does his own refinery, I think other people should even come into the refinery business. That would really help. Again, I won't be dependent on just one man. Because Dangote can be annoyed one day and say, you know what, I'm to hell with Nigeria. He's a capitalist, and naturally is expected to pursue maximum profits. So again, I agree that you need to liberalize the industry. Maybe not as, having other people not as big as Dangote, but people that can still come in to produce.
And now, the government will withdraw giving people licenses to refine oil. The government will monopolize the whole refineries and be spending billions of dollars, including this government that is not working. That is what is making the price of oil to go high. You're importing all the oil you need, and you're doing it in dollars. The prices will go high, so you are not giving subsidy. Nigerians are paying for the incompetence and corruption of the ruling class. So what was I preaching for? Remove that incompetence. How? Privatize the refineries if you cannot repair them. And when you sell the 4 refineries to 4 different people, you have had 4 competitors. Now you did not do it. Dangote now came in, and all the refineries have crumbled. And then you're saying he's a monopolist. No. Dangote is a smart person. He's just doing what we were taught to do when I was reading business administration. Come out to the system, identify a problem, and bring solution, and you become a billionaire.
100%.
You become a trillionaire. So what Dangote does, being a smart business person, a Nigerian one for that matter, he will come and identify a problem. He knows that because of the incompetence and corruption of the government, they will never be able to repair those refineries.
Yeah.
So when he wanted to buy the refineries, the federal government had already sold it to him. And incompetently, they reversed it. Since they sold it to him and reversed it, from about 2007, those refineries have still been in a state of disrepair. And Nigeria has spent almost more than $18 billion or more than $10 billion trying to repair them. And the money he used to build one of the largest refineries on earth is even smaller than if you check all the total money that have been pumping into those refineries to repair them. Corruption. This is what is making the price of your oil to be high.
I agree.
When they do all those corruption, when they are now importing, when Nigeria is consuming like 30 million liters, they will say it's 60 million liters. That is what is making
Fair enough.
people that are paying for
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
That is what is making purportedly making those subsidies. When you remove those things, assuming that we have now 5 major competitors like Dangote, that's when you will know that the Dangote will be selling that oil even 300 naira.
No, I don't think you're gonna have a 300 per liter. Stop the cap, bro. Stop the no. Yeah, you can't, because like I said again, there's a base. The base is what's the price, of even the crude oil itself. Crude oil itself is not, you don't just determine it anyhow. It's determined based on the global market rates. Now, what you're going to be having is certain fluctuation where the price goes down, then the price goes up depending on the crude oil price. But again, it won't be as expensive, maybe, as it is today, but then you can't have a 300. I mean, do the maths, right? You're gonna refine this oil, you're gonna transport it, and all of that. Again, the only way you can have it at 300 is if the government comes in and starts subsidizing. And I don't think subsidy is the way to go. I heard one presidential candidate, although it doesn't really matter, Dumebi or so, saying that, oh, well, he's going to bring back subsidy. You're going to bring back subsidy? You're going to bring back subsidy after all what Nigeria has gone through? After all, because the corrupt elements, they've not gone to sleep. They're still there. You bring it back, they're going to devise a new way to make more demands on the government. And you may say, okay, fine, start pursuing them, start, jailing them. That's also a thing. But what then happens? Then you're going to just change your focus on that. Better thing is eliminate it. Let the forces of market and supply, do its job. Increase the wages of people that are working, and let people run, on a fair market basis. And the extreme poor in the society find one way or the other to also have social programs. But then that also has to be monitored, because over time, even the people themselves are also part of the problem. People coming to declare that they're poor when they're not, just to benefit from the government. It happens everywhere in the world.
What happened? Because just look at what is happening in telecommunication industry. When Nigeria wanted to start telecommunication industry, people were paying us billions of dollars to get the license, because they know that we have the market. Mm-hmm. And when they got the license, they did what we did. They established telecommunication industry. Till today, the cost of our data, telecommunication, has not gone haywire relative to the economic environment. But the fuel, the oil that we have in our own land, somebody will tell you subsidy. There's nothing like subsidy in the first place. It's inefficiency and corruption. So TINUBU removing oil subsidy. The first interview I granted 24 hours after removing, I said, sir, please don't. What you should do is to ensure that there are regular supply and that there is no monopoly, and the price will come down on its own.
No.
Because
no. So why is it? We can always talk about that. Then why is it that none other president did it? It doesn't work. Again, you see, that's the problem. When you're an Nollywood actor, you think everything is acting. Let's be realistic. Ideas are trivial. Execution is painful. Ideas are trivial. Execution is painful. And that's why, again, it becomes so difficult at times for you to just say, oh, don't let there be monopoly. The government's job is not to be producing these and picking winners or losers, although that's what we've been doing all this while. That's why we picked Dangote and gave him all the forex at a very cheap rate. It's just to create a level playing field for people with innovation to come, and then there'll be the demand and supply, interplay, and then the people benefit. At the end of the day, that's why Dangote is trying to crash the price right now. He's battling, that's a private individual. He's battling Nupeng, he's battling Pengerson, he's battling other cabals in the oil industry. So what are we talking about? So I think removal was the right thing to do.
Because get another Dangote, get two more Dangote, supply crude oil to them, and Nigeria will become net exporters of fuel, and the price will come down on its own. That's market forces.
So now, just to put again, we're now exporting fuel. Okay, to be honest with you, we're now exporting fuel.
So let them not bamboozle you. What TINUBU did, and I'll tell you how TINUBU operates. Why I say he's serving the powerful, not the people. When they want to take policy, what they are looking for is how much money will it give us? How much revenue? Not how will it conduce to the welfare of the people. The broadcast is the third time, meaning he's approaching his third year in office. And some dimwits are still telling you that the administration is too young. 4 years is the term of office. Any policy that 100 days after you proclaim that policy, that people have not started seeing the fruit of it, is a scam.
Whoa.
Is a sham. When he removed that for protest subsidy, I said, sir, this is unsustainable. And that is what is happening. You know, when they say Nigerian economy is stable, profound respect, it's not true. Nigerian economy is not stable. Nigerian economy is stagnant. These are two different things. Why am I saying it's not stable? If it is stable, why would ASU be threatening to go on strike, or they're on strike? If it is stable, why would health officials, doctors and nurses, be going on strike? If it is stable, why is Dangote and Pengasson trying to kill themselves in the oil that we produce? No, it's not stable.
And my guy is just blowing hot. Yeah, no. So stability, is subject to interpretation. There is no economy in this world where you won't have all of those, wildfires once in a while. But instability, he was actually mentioning, talked about the FX rate. Okay, look at that. We remembered when people were saying that hold your dollar close. It's been stable for a while. When it comes to what's it called again? When it comes to the Nigerian Stock Exchange market, for the first time after a long while, you now see the NSE index showing a substantial gain that outbeats Obasanjo, at Buhari, and even Jonathan's era. Real recovery in that sector, on that side of things. So the IMF also has come out to say, at least those ones are not APC members, they're saying that now it's stable and is recovering fast. So again, let's not be sentimental about things. Let's just say it the way it is. Are we out of the woods yet? No. Is everything now better? Is things going the way it should go? Well, there are still issues. Security is a bigger problem. That would impact foreign direct investment. Interest rates are still high. I would love to see it below double digits. Those are the things that you're going to look into. That would say it's going to turbocharge the economy. But again, in terms of revenue generation, what the governors are getting right now, and that's why, they could easily come and say we're going to increase salaries and all that, is because of the subsidy that was removed. Let's not just be too emotional. And again, execution is key. I mean, it's easy to say something. When you get there, it's not easy. It's easy to say you're going to change everything, but when Obina gets to a political party and doesn't even understand how to run it, it becomes a bigger problem. Okay? So again, I'm saying that you can always badmouth this government with respect to what they're doing, but at the same time also there are wins, and there are places that I would say that we don't have clear wins, that maybe is lost, but it is what it is.
The hunger and hardship is increasing. It is stagnant. When you see Naira, they say it is stabilizing at 1,400. Shame unto you. Naira that you met 400 and something Naira. You're saying it is stable at 1,400, 1,500. It reached 1,800. No. Stability has to do that with the fact that you're coming to the desired level of value that you want. The whole world say Naira is undervalued.
Stability doesn't come to the value that you want. Stability means that there is a sustainable reduction in the fluctuation in prices. What you want has nothing to do with the demand and supply in the market. Prices will respond to forces of demand and supply. And if your forces of demand and supply has been, in a way, artificially kept low because you're subsidizing FX, and you have 5 different rates, one for those that want to import, one for those that want to travel for health reasons, one for those that want to go to school, another for those that just need dollars, and then the black market that would then tell you the reality. When you put all of those together, you can't tell me that they met FX at 400. They met FX at 400 was a fraudulent rate that CBN and the banks and the politicians were using to swindle Nigerians. Whatever happened before TINUBU, like the Buhari's regime, Jonathan's regime, it was all catastrophic. Let's be sincere with ourselves. If we want to be fair, it was really catastrophic, because how can you even say you had 5 exchange rates for one symbol of currency, Naira? So again, it's better that people educate themselves when it comes to economics, else you just be using emotions and be lying to people when you come online to kind of rubbish yourself because you don't even understand what you're talking about.
There is nothing with good policy that would have made naira to climb above 1,000 naira. Imagine Sefa being more powerful than naira, and you're saying the economy is stable. No, the economy is stagnant. It has come to that level, and because they lack innovation, they are borrowing everything they need. No innovation, no development of the economy. It has stagnated. If it is stable, then it has come to a level where people will no longer be hungry, or where things will not be hard.
No. That has nothing to do with hunger, and that has nothing to do with stability. You can say that in the long run, it helps, or you could say because there's hunger, people start to join bandits, and then it affects economy, and then there's now fluctuation. But you can't just tell me that because people are hungry because certain elements in the government for the past how many years, 30, 40 years, have been destroying the country. This is the first time someone is even saying, let's put all those reforms to work. Let's see how far we can go. Let the economy play on a level playing field. Don't let it be that when Dangote needs $1, then it can get it at $300, 300 naira. But when I need dollars, I have to get it at 1,005. And that being said, the foreign reserves was at $4 billion. It was low. We couldn't even meet our obligations. And we were priding ourselves that naira to this was still 400. Nobody was getting dollars at 400 naira. It was only the powerful that was getting dollars at 400 naira. So let's not be sentimental, okay?
But because it's stagnated, people are suffering. So there is nothing in that speech except propaganda. He has borrowed Nigeria into slavery. There's one thing he said in that speech. He said he inherited near collapse economy. Please, compared to what you inherited and what we are seeing now, what you inherited is a paradise economy. The total debt then was 7 trillion naira. He's talking about ways and means. They borrowed like 22 trillion naira or so, which they produced as in locally, as in central bank. Please, last year alone, TINUBU has borrowed 21 point something billion dollars. Compare it. They want to push all the blame to Buhari. Buhari maintained subsidy and Naira maintained the value at 420 till he left. And you're saying you inherited near collapse economy? When Jonathan removed...
No. Is this your argument that the economy was not near collapse and that Buhari maintained the Naira at 400? Is this your argument? If this is what you're putting to the public, can I trust your argument when it comes to 2027? Because I know that you're now fully supportive of Atiku's ambition. And I have a problem with Atiku. Because there's nothing really significant that I can point to him for all the years he was in government. Is this your argument that the economy was stable with Buhari not having a clue as to how to reform the country? And that Buhari kept the economy stable? I don't even want to go into what Buhari did. Is this your argument? Because if this is your argument, then I have a problem with your advice to the Nigerian people as to the way forward. Because I knew that Nigeria was at the brink of collapse when Buhari was there. Because they didn't even have a clue about economics. They didn't even have a clue about security. They didn't even have a clue about a lot of things. So you're now telling us that Buhari actually left a stable economy? Wow. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to talk about anymore.
Subsidy partially, he established Shopee. When Abacha removed subsidy partially, he established PTF. And what they were using it for, we know. When TINUBU removed subsidy completely, he established no developmental program. What are they using it for? Awarding a contract for 15 trillion naira, where himself and his family has interest. to their friends.
Well,
And you're
I agree
saying
with
we
that one.
inherited near collapse economy? And
No,
you're using money
he
to
did
buy
inherit
private
near
jets,
collapse
150
economy, young
billion
man.
naira, and you're driving on Cadillac Beast? Please, did your predecessor drive on such cars? Did they ride on such plane?
He has
That
a
is
point
what
here.
is killing our economy.
I wouldn't argue. He has a point here. The level of austerity that Nigerians are facing is massive. But when you look at the National Assembly, when you look at the executive, the flamboyant lifestyle has not even been controlled at all. And again, that's TINUBU's habit for you. The guy likes to spend. He doesn't think about I'm spending this much. His own idea is that I can triple these monies. I can make this money times 10. That's where it looks as his own. So again, I understand where he's coming from. But that being said, you can't ask people to fasten their belt. And then you yourself, you're not showing by example. And in this regards, I agree
Did
with
not
Kenneth.
inherit near collapse economy, sir. You are collapsing the economy through profligacy. He's running the highest bureaucracy in Nigeria. This is the person that is telling you he inherited a near collapse economy is employing 48 ministers. And he inherited a near collapse economy. And more than half of the ministers, more than 2/3 are doing nothing.
I agree.
And this is the person.
I agree.
who is
A lot
telling
of those
you
ministers are.
He's the most profligate president. He has spent more nourishing his empire. And he's telling you he inherited near collapse. No, it is now that we are trying to collapse with the debt of 150 trillion naira and no productivity. Let them tell me one product Nigeria is producing that we are boasting that we are exporting. They say non-export has increased. This and that. No, the revenue.
Oh my, this guy they blow out.
That has increased came from the extortion of the Nigerian people. So that broadcast for me.
But there was something he said. He said that the worst is over. That yesterday's pains are gone, and now the pains are giving room to relief.
The minimum wage is still 70,000 naira. At the cost of 1,500 naira, that should be about $45 a month. Not up to $2 a day. $2 a day is the level they will say people are not in abject poverty. So please, what pain has relieved? Help me. Dangote is threatening is going to increase the price of fuel. We are buying it almost 1,000 naira. It has not reduced. So please, which pain has increased? A young girl fell from the 2-story building and died. And there was no adequate rush for medication, for security people available to take any instant action because of insecurity. Which pain has reduced? Is it in the economy or where? So that is propaganda. The truth is that the pain is increasing. Look at the young boys that are dying out of heart attack. Heart attack used to be things for old people. Now it's now prevalent among young people. What do you think is killing them? Bad economy, failing economy, no education. He even said that people now have more access to education. These are not, sorry, Mr. President. Rich people have more access to education. The poor people, you are still lending them money, not even building education. If you go to some universities, some college of education, you will be embarrassed. So please, except in their papers, I have not seen anything. He said the worst is over. Please, is it in insecurity? In Benue State, people are still being killed as I'm talking to you. In Plateau State, people are still being killed to the point that there was time they rioted that they don't even want the army because they don't even know what the army is doing again. They rioted recently. What happened with?
Did you guys hear the what happened in Kwara State? I mean, it allegedly they said that the armies went to those vigilantes that were securing Kwara, the Okonkwo stuff, and then they said that they took all their weapons. Allegedly, that there was actually an helicopter that came to drop people, and those guys started firing at them. That's crazy. That's why I don't know. For security, I ranked TINUBU 0. I mean, I know the military guys in the forefront, they're doing their best. But in terms of the strategy level, I'm kind of a little bit, angry with how this thing has been allowed to fester.
That young lady happened in Abuja. Insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in Zamfara? Is it in Katsina? Is it in the southeast? Is it in the southwest? In the southwest, they are crying practically to eat food. Which turn are you talking about? Okay, do you want to talk about Tinubu's respect for rule of law? You will be embarrassed. Look at what's happening in Osun State. Tinubu went to court and obtained the judgment of the Supreme Court that they were going to start transferring the local government money directly to them. 1 year after that, they have not implemented it.
Yeah, but they said those guys are on strike. That's why. I mean, that's Osun, but every other local government should be having their monies, right? For every other state. So what are you talking about? That's just one state. So you can't tell me that you use that state and then just make assumption about the whole other country. Okay? So again, I mean, you yourself, you're trying to get into some level of propaganda here.
You got that? And in Osun State, the APC local government chairman, they want to give them the money in the account that they opened for themselves. Local government chairman. Meanwhile, the government was giving an excuse that they've not opened the account. They will not talk. I said, look, this government is very unserious.
I agree in a way.
So all these things you're hearing is propaganda meant to bewitch. Nothing that is true. Let me ask you in all honesty, has your life improved? Now, have you had a turning point in your salary or in the value of it or in the profit you're making from your business? If the answer is no, there is no turning point yet.
Wow.
J&J,
wow,
Johnson & Johnson, the pharmaceutical company, just left Nigeria. Just left Nigeria weeks ago. So how many of the expatriate companies are? They can only come when our raw materials, God giving something, that's what they're looking for. Maybe to mine, to do this, because that one is coming from the soil. When other countries are talking about AI, we're talking about survival.
Related to that, how will you describe the state of the Nigerian economy?
Failed. One word. Failed. Because
I don't even know what to say.
the most natural product that we have flowing like a river, people are fighting to kill themselves. You can see in the oil alone. If we can refine oil alone and all its subsidiaries, all the products that you can get, if you can get them alone and export them, we'll still be #1 nation on earth. Just look at Dangote that has not lasted up to a year. We are now the net exporters of jet fuel to advanced countries. I feel so proud.
Oh, wait. In the same economy, that you said is collapsing, you feel so proud because of Dangote. So again, your argument is getting contradictory here.
Told them to prepare before Dangote comes in. Otherwise, we will be facing the same problem as if Dangote was not existing. I said if Dangote comes in, the price of fuel will still not be cheaper. What is happening now? Why did I say so?
No, because that's the regulation. You don't expect the price of fuel to be cheaper now, right? It's the regulation. When it removed that subsidy, it says that let the market determine the price of fuel. Now, you could talk about bringing efficiency, competition, and all that, but that would still be the forces of demand and supply in the marketplace. So again, I don't understand why you were saying people were saying it was going to be cheaper, but that was low IQ argument. It wasn't going to be cheaper. It was meant to be that Dangote comes in and then it actually based on demand and supply, face the same thing and let other people import if they want to import oil. Whichever way is more efficient should be the one that definitely outlasts the other. And that was what we're trying to talk about. Nobody was saying that price of oil will be cheaper. The regulation means that now the market forces determines the price.
Because what we are suffering is cost of production induced inflation, not demand pull inflation. Now, there is an inelastic demand when it has to do with oil. In other words, no matter the price, the demand will be the same. So, but when cost of production is high, there is no way you will sell at a lower price. Otherwise, you fold up. So Dangote cannot sell at a lower price because his cost of production is high. Yet, this government, rather than doing things to reduce cost of production, they are doing things to discourage demand. Meaning we are suffering from stagflation. The price.
Oh my God. This guy is just it's just balling. You say one thing, you contradict yourself with something else. So you're saying Dangote's production price is higher. That's why you cannot reduce the price. But you want the government to sell petrol at a lower price. Like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, it doesn't. Like, it's not even consistently logical, at this point.
Prices of goods are high and there is no money to buy. Stagflation is one of the worst situations that you can be in. That's why I said Nigerian economy is stagnated because we are suffering stagflation. The goods are high and there is no money to buy. That's why the companies are falling like pack of cards. If Dangote was not the richest man in Africa, his company would have collapsed. But he has what it takes to sustain it, to do the fight. And that's why he's surviving. So, the economy of Nigeria now has failed. You will see.
I'm sorry, I can't see some of the chats. I would have been responding. I'll try to fix that. So I'm getting notifications that there are a lot of chats coming in. I'll try and fix that. Sorry about that.
You see, can you imagine TINUBU saying he inherited a near collapse economy? Assuming another president comes in now and is inheriting the indices of TINUBU, that is a collapsed economy. Because you, TINUBU, inherited 77 trillion naira in national debt. He's going to inherit 150 trillion naira in national debt. Which one is collapsible more than the other? You, TINUBU, inherited 195 naira PMS per liter. The president, whoever is taking over, because he's a one-term president, TINUBU is a one-term president, will inherit almost 1,000 naira per liter. Which one is more collapsible? In security, in economy, in respect for rule of law? Zero. And you're saying you inherited a near. When you want to make such statement, wait. When you have improved on what you met, that's when you can make such statement. But when it is worse, sorry, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution.
Why do you say he's a one-term president?
Of course now.
Who is he? Has an option of running for a second term.
Okay. You want me to take it geopolitical zone by geopolitical zone? Okay. Let me start from Southeast. Whoever is from the Southeast and votes again for this president is not a true son of the Southeast. And I said this without any reason.
No way. No way. So now, if you're in the Southeast and then you vote for him, you're no more a true South. Why are you bringing tribalism? I believe that the person, even if he's from the Southeast and has made up his mind that based on the metrics that I'm setting for myself, this is the person that I feel, again, his own right, his own discretion, his own decision. That's why it's called a democracy. Why would you say he's not a true son of the Southeast? What? What do you mean? This is why this is the whole problem. This is the problem with Nigerian politics. Because if you go that route, and then those in the Northeast also, or the North says, oh, it's this not or that not. I mean, I didn't say this not, but again, why would you do that? Why would you say that? Why?
Salvation. Why do I say this? already the Southeast people are feeling marginalized because they have only 5 states. And you can imagine this president that is so mean that he gave us only 2 ministers. We're entitled to 5 ministers by the
Oh,
Constitution.
really? Wait.
2 ministers.
2 ministers? Oh, really?
Minister of Science, Minister of Works. That's all. When this government came in, we had 4 ministers. In other places, he changed ministers. He replaced it with ministers. He changed 2 of our ministers and did not give us ministers again. We had the Minister of Women Affairs in Anambra State. TINUBU took it and did not replace it with another minister. Don't tell me Minister of State. I've told you, Minister of State is that.
This guy is a good propagandist. I thought he was accusing APC of propaganda. So I said, I just consulted. Okay, I just consulted Grox. Current ministers from Nigeria's Southeast geopolitical zone. As of October 2025, under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, the Southeast zone, comprising of Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo State, has the following 7 ministers in the Federal Executive Council. Look at this. Now it says, note that Uju Kennedy Ohaneye from Anambra, former Minister of Women Affairs, was discharged in October 2024 cabinet reshuffle, and no replacement from the Southeast. And no replacement from the Southeast has been appointed to that portfolio. Bianca, okay, that's late Ojuku's wife, was appointed Minister of State for Foreign Affairs in the same reshuffle and remaining in office. Now, these are the list of the ministers. David Umani, Minister of Works, Ebonyi. Okay? Uche Godstime, Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Enugu. Ikiruka Onje Jiocha, Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Abia. Doris Nkiruka Uzoka, Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Imo State. Bianca Ojukwu, Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, Anambra. So why would you say that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Why would you say that there are only just 2 ministers? Because the Minister of State are not ministers? Despite the fact that this region only gave Tinubu 5% of the total votes. Rightly so, that's their decision. I'm not questioning it at all. I'm not questioning this at all. So why would you now come and say that he marginalized them? There are other projects also. There have been stalwarts in the Nollywood industry that have said that they're for Tinubu. How come Owaneze, which is one of the respectable, now you could say maybe money has changed, and I've said that no Southeasterners should contest against Tinubu in 2027. Which even Southwest have never said nobody should contest against Tinubu. There are a lot of Southwest stalwarts that are even saying that they're for Obi, even though Obi does not even have a real political party right now. So why would you come here and lie and say just 2 ministers when there are 5 ministers?
The Minister of Foreign Affairs is one Yusuf, is Honorable Yusuf Tuga. That's the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So Anambra State now has no substantive minister.
Really?
We took our Minister of Industry and Trade from Abia. Is it Abia or Imo? Did not replace it. Don't give me that thing about Minister of State. Because the Minister of Finance today is Wole Edu. So, when the opportunity came for the Abia Minister of State to be promoted to substantive Minister of Labor, because the substantive minister went back to the Senate, rejecting to be a minister, preferred to be a senator. He knows why. No, he did not even allow the Honorable Nkechi become a Honorable Nkiru to become a full-fledged minister. Why? Because of hatred for Ndigo. Absolute.
Really? You're making serious allegations here, bro. These are serious allegations. That he hates the Indigo. I don't know, but it's all about calculation. If a region is not going to give him anything, in the spirit of fairness, he's giving you guys 5. duly represented. So what are we talking about? It's not fair. And I kind of understand where it's coming from. And I kind of get it also. Remember, at the end of the day, all this is also politics. Because even the North are also complaining, which I kind of agree, that maybe they should be given more juicy position. But mind you, when TINUBU made Buhari, helped Buhari in winning, not made, but helped him in winning, to be honest with you, most of the people that Buhari nominated and gave ministerial positions were people that had either had a falling out with TINUBU, Fashola had a falling out with TINUBU, Fayemi had falling out with TINUBU. I'm serious. That's why they're not in his government now. So 2015, TINUBU actually presented Wale Edun and Cardoso to TINUBU to make them to Buhari to make them ministers. They took off all those names. I'm serious. People around Buhari ensured that no loyalists of TINUBU will be in Buhari's government. No loyalists of TINUBU will be in Buhari's government. In Buhari's government, yeah. They did all they could to actually edge TINUBU out of the APC. So let's not talk about all this. Oh, there's problem in all this political party. There were efforts to destroy TINUBU's political ambition. What did he do? Carrot and stick. He didn't burn the whole party down like El-Rufai is doing now. El-Rufai went to Lagos in 2019 and told them that they should pursue their godfather away. Oh, so now TINUBU is having the last laugh and everybody wants to burn the whole thing down, right? Again, his approach may not be the best. I'm not going to let him slide on that. You might contest that, but again, that's what democracy is all about. As long as it's gone within the law, it's giving you guys 5 ministers, 2 substantive, 2 minister of state. There's nothing you can hold against him. That's why when you play politics, and that's what I'm saying in the Southeast, when you play politics, you've got to understand that it's numbers. Instead, I wouldn't give him anything, and then you're saying, oh, he should treat you guys like the crown jewel of the whole republic. I don't know. This is the real life, bro. And politics is war in a righteous way. Okay? So when you come and say he hates the Southeast, that's a very, very big allegation. And there are projects that he's doing for the Southeast as we speak that even Jonathan in his own graces didn't do. So again, we have to be cautious when we speak. We have to understand stuff when we speak, not just come out and make allegations that he hates the Southeast. I don't know, but again, it is what it is.
When he was campaigning, when he was doing his primary, he did not go to Southeast. He rather, when he finishes other zones he thought was important, now came to Abuja and say they should all come and see him.
Okay.
When he was campaigning, he said the Southeast will have soaked slice of bread. That's what they will get from. Not slice of bread, though. No. The one that is so light, you won't see it except it is soaked. To tell you the level of marginalization. After the election, he said, these people came to Lagos when they were 12 years and they didn't support us. So he had the mind to emasculate and finish the Southeast.
Wow.
And on top of it, he went for a Muslim ticket. Southeast, they are 99.9% Christians. So whoever is choosing a Muslim ticket do not have any intention to have them in the presidency for any reason. And that is why I'm saying anybody from the Southeast that is supporting TINUBU, you are an enemy. You're not a Southeast indigene. No, politics is about whoever is trying to finish your people and you're supporting the person, you are complicit. You're complicit. So, ethnically, religiously, TINUBU has excluded us from the scheme of things.
Wow.
And then you're telling me from the Southeast. Now, the Muslim ticket, look at how it's affecting Nigeria. Even the Muslim clerics from the north have come out to say we were duped and that they will never support same-faith ticket again. Look at how it's affecting the image of Nigeria, both abroad and in Nigeria. The Christian nations are now saying it that the Christians are persecuted, the Christians are being slaughtered. And let me tell you, they might not tell you that openly, but it's because of the Muslim ticket.
No way, no. Guy, this guy is. I hope you know what you're talking about. I hope you know what you're talking about. This is a heavy allegation saying that it's because of the Muslim tickets that Christians are being persecuted. No, it's not. Let me explain it to you. You have to understand politics. It's about the game of numbers. There was no way TINUBU would have been a president by selecting a Christian from the north. There was no way. That wouldn't pull anything. Again, it was pure numbers. Now you're saying that the Muslims in the north are angry that they were duped. Why are the Muslims in the north angry that they were duped? The Muslims in the north are angry that they were duped because the Christians in Tinubu's government have gotten so many good positions. And that's not me. Khan came out and said it, that Tinubu has made good on his promises and has given Christians juicy positions and given Christians an opportunity to excel under his administration. That is why the Muslims in the north are angry. The north are also angry because the southerners, especially those from Lagos, have gotten some juicy position as ministers. So you're conflicting both. How would the Muslim in the north be angry at the same time the Christian in the south are angry because the Christian in the south are being marginalized, but then the Muslims in the north are also angry because the Muslims are also being marginalized, that they were duped? It doesn't add up.
Because I know it. If you ask me, I'll say everybody in Nigeria is suffering insecurity problem. But when they
I agree
see
with that one.
that Christians are more than 50% of the population, and you're doing Muslim ticket, you will see Christian people saying, no, this school must have been traumatized and all that. That's why people like Atiku Abubakar, that's why they are insisting that our diversity will be respected. I'll tell you something that you may have not known. Part of the reason that Atiku Abubakar had not been president before now is his insistence on respecting our diversity. In 2007, when he contested for the president, he refused to choose a fellow Muslim to be his vice. He refused to choose Bola Tinubu to be his vice, because he said, as far as Nigeria is concerned, it must be Muslim Christian ticket. In 2015, when Buhari won in the primary election, Buhari was contemplating to choose a fellow Muslim. Buhari went to Atiku to ask for Atiku's support after the primary. Atiku told him, I will support you on one condition: you cannot choose a fellow Muslim to run. And Buhari, it was tough for him because he knew the commitment. Then after a while, he came and gave his assurance to Atiku, and Atiku Abubakar supported Buhari. So, because he is exposed, he's well traveled, he understands what it means when you have such large number of Christians and you want to create the impression that they don't matter. So now you can see how Tinubu is having problems with Muslim nations around the world because he's not performing. Muslims are being killed like chicken, and with Christian nations around the world. And you know, he has no solution to them. So coming from Southeast, you can see how Southeast people are hopeless under Tinubu. Now, you want to go to Southwest, his own people, who are the people that started crying, we are hungry? This is the government that has punished Southwest more than any other government in my life. I know the Southwest people to be people who work hard and they want to enjoy themselves after working hard. They are no longer badoing. They are now suffering head. If you go to Southwest now, you know, Benny. I lived in Lagos for 17 years. We like to enjoy. When I had my shops in Idumota. So when we walk in the evening, you come and see enjoyment. It is no longer there. What you are seeing is begging. This government has reduced Yoruba people to beggars. I know what I'm talking about.
That's tribalistic. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. No, that's wrong. You don't say that. Man, in this 1 hour, 22 minutes interview, a lot of crazy stuff. Tinubu has reduced Yoruba people to beggars. Wow. I mean, the bigotry is really like screaming out. Red alert. What does it mean? You don't say that. You don't.
Yoruba people that like to work hard, brilliant guys. I was taught by some very brilliant professors of Yoruba origin when I was reading my law. Oh, I so much like these people. Now Tinubu has reduced them to beggars. No more Eku Bandu. Is Eku suffering? That's what is happening in the Southwest now. And he wants the Southwest to come and vote for him. Of course, they didn't even vote. Lagos State did not even vote for him in 2023. I believe that the other Southwest states will join up and remove this man. They are suffering. If you go inside the villages in Yoruba land, you will cry. And I know what I'm talking about. Let them prove me wrong. Are you talking about the North Central? No, let's finish the South. Are you talking about South? Tinubu openly robbed Rivers State of 6 months of the leadership they elected by themselves. Tell me any zone after going through what Rivers State went through. 6 months of their resources being carted away by strangers. All the projects meant to at least assuage the level of suffering in Nigeria that Governor Fubara had brought up for Rivers State. Tinubu just suspended it, suspended the leaders, threw them out for nothing, and brought a stranger to start destroying the resources of Rivers State. You're from such zones outside, and you're thinking, is something wrong with you? Are you talking about North Central? You're from Benue, you're from Plateau, you're from Taraba, which is going down to Northeast, and you're suffering this level of insecurity. Look at Kwara State now. You're talking about insurgency, they're now bombing. These are places that used to be peaceful.
Enough.
Look at Kogi. Look at Niger. Even natural disaster like flood will claim hundreds in Niger. Now in Abuja, you can see how a young lady fell and died. Insecurity everywhere. Insensitivity everywhere. Natural disaster, the government will display insensitivity. Insecurity, the government will display incompetence. Throughout North Central, it has been one tragedy or the other. That each succeeding event now is continually becoming a harbinger of disaster. Tell me who is in North Central that will remember Tinubu in 2027? You want to doubt me that he's not a one-term president?
So the party, okay, again, to be honest with you, I get where you're coming from, the suffering and all that. When it comes to election, the data says something different. If it's about suffering, it's about people not doing stuff. Even with the Naira note policy that was done by Emefiele, still had Tinubu winning. Again, you could say it was, that what happened then was rigging and all that. I'm saying, what are you guys going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You can always come and give excuses. Right now, the opposition party is in disarray. The parties, PDP, LP, ADC, SDP, and the one for Showore, maybe AAC or whatever. 5 parties, no unity of purpose, no unity of direction, nothing whatsoever is working from the opposition side of things. And you think that when it's time for elections, that you guys automatically are going to win. You said it's going to be a one-time president. Okay, that's fine. Do you know that El-Rufai also said the same thing a few weeks ago? He said Tinubu is going to be a one-time president. In fact, he said Tinubu is not going to be second, Tinubu is going to be third. Now, by the time the votes comes from Kaduna, the vote comes from Kano, the vote comes from here and there, is going to be a one-time president. I said, that's fine. Okay, fine. You have, the right to your own assertions. And just a week after when he said Tinubu is going to be third, that's El-Rufai. He came back and said, Tinubu wants to be a lifetime president. Bro, you said he was going to be third. He was not going to win. So which one is it? Which one is it? Which one is it? Is it going to be third or is it going to be a lifetime president? Because the opposition party is in disarray in Nigeria. You're not even providing correct opposition politics as we speak. You can't run a political party, but you want people to give you the whole country to rule over. It doesn't work that way. Sorry.
If there is anything like half-term president, some APC members vowed with their blood. Some of them have even died. And even in their dying wish, they were saying Tinubu is a one-term president. And I'm talking about people like Jesus Onokpasa. He came out, even when he was dying, he was saying Tinubu will be a one-term president.
No, Jesus Onokpasa, the late guy, I really sympathized with him. The issue he had with the presidency was that he worked for Tinubu's emergence as the president and nothing was given to him. That was what Jesus Onokpasa's problem was. Let's forget about all this story. If El-Rufai had been given ministerial position, would he have come out to say this administration is bad? You see, that's the problem that I have. Is you have to maintain a position when you're in politics. You cannot be mixing stuff. Onokpasa's position was that Tinubu's government abandoned him when he needed them the most. And he said it that he worked for the president and there was hunger, and at this time the president is going to be one term. So again, that's it.
I'm sure in the spirit world now, as a spirit, I'm sure he's fighting to make sure that Tinubu is a one-term president. APC member. Look at what's happening. You want to talk about Northwest? I told you about Zamfara and Katsina. People massacred during the time of worship. Killed. Muslims, and this is the man who used Muslim ticket to beguile them. Most of the votes that he got, that he's purporting that he won the election, came from Northwest. So what they are going through now, is it the Northwest that will come to support him? I don't talk about Northeast. The governor of Borno has cried and cried, screamed, please don't take the resources they are using to fight insurgents. Insurgency is still there. And now you can see the resurgence of the insurgency. Killing farmers. The last time I heard 73 killed. This is because we have become numb to the number of deaths under Tinubu's regime. Northeast. Look at it. Nowhere is safe. So who is it that will vote for Tinubu? Please let me know. Let me know. So if there is anything like half-term president, that's what it would have been. But no, the worst he can be is one-term president.
Okay, you're related to Rivers State. Now that the president has called off the state of emergency in Rivers State, was this justification enough to suspend the governor, suspend the state assembly? And what should the governor do? Should he take legal action? And as a member of the bar, how do you feel that the Supreme Court has also not adjudicated on the issue of the PDP governors that went to court over the emergency rule in Rivers State?
It's quite unfortunate. As a lawyer, I am not proud of what the Supreme Court did, because rule of law means that the court should always rise up to interpret the provisions of the Constitution to add value to our democracy. And the court, having not seized the opportunity, 90 days, 6 months is 180 days. That is the time that Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court combined. It is still more time that an election petition is decided. The appeal for an election decision is 60 days at the Court of Appeal, 60 days at the Supreme Court, and 480 days, that's 6 months, Supreme Court could not take up a case that would have threatened the fabric of our democracy to adjudicate on it, so that future presidents, because if you give a president the power that he can remove the elected representatives of the federating unit, democracy is gone.
I agree.
Opposition is gone.
I agree.
Because once a president wants to capture a state, he will just declare a state of emergency. State of emergency is for disasters. State of emergency is for invasion, is for wars, is for anything that needs extraordinary measure to occur. It has nothing to do with elected representatives of the people.
Fair enough.
Anything that touches elected representatives of the people is a martial law, not a constitutional change. The Constitution is very clear. Section 1, subsection 2, that the Federal Republic of Nigeria or any part thereof shall not be governed by any person or any group of persons. Neither shall any such people take control of such government, except in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. And the Constitution is very clear that it is through democratic principle. Section 14, subsection 1, Nigeria is a state that should be democratic. Clear. And accordingly, sovereignty belongs to the people. So, Rivers State people, having expressed their sovereignty and chosen their elected leaders, where did this president get the power to suspend elected representatives? I agree completely with the vice president, Shetima. And the president does not have the power to suspend a councillor. So if the vice president of TINUBU would tell you president does not have power to suspend a councillor, where did the president get the power to suspend a governor? House of...
I read in the news today that the Supreme Court dismissed that lawsuit. I'm going to look at that after this interview.
Assembly members. Where? The 305. Section 305 is very clear. Section 45 is very clear. Section 11 is very clear. What you can suspend is the fundamental human rights during the time of emergency. And the truth is that you're not even suspending it. You're trying to ensure it. Let me put it this way. You are a natural disaster going on, flood that will kill people. You will tell them they must not leave their house, and you enforce it. Why? You are infringing on their freedom of movement in order to save their lives. So which one is better? That is just what restriction of 305 permits the president to do. And do you know that it is the president that has the duty to secure lives and property in Nigeria? No state has power for any state police. When TINUBU was in power, Dele Alake, and I will still be saying this because I liked what he did so much that when I met him personally, I said, Dele, thank you for doing this. Dele told President Obasanjo, you cannot declare state of emergency in Lagos State because of the issue of security. Because, Mr. President, the issue of security is your duty, not the duty of Lagos State. So how can TINUBU declare state of emergency and remove elected representatives in Rivers State based on issue of security when that is his own duty, when he has the sole command of all the security forces? Okay, now let me ask. When TINUBU took over the government of Rivers State for 6 months, how many of the criminals that vandalized pipelines were arrested? How many?
I agree with him on this one. And again, you could argue for or against depending on where you deem fit. But just to remind you also, in this issue, Fubara himself came out to praise the president. The guy that was suspended, though, came out to say, thank you, Mr. President, you did the right thing. Because Wike already had him on the chopping block. So should the president have waited for everything to be in disarray, or should the president have acted? I mean, there are two schools of thought. One is that, you know what, let it fall wherever it wants to fall. If Fubara is gone, so be it. The rule of law must be maintained, and as the rule of law says, you don't have the power to remove it. Then again, the question is, how come the president removed Fubara when there are a lot of states in the country that are going through worse scenarios, right? Why should you remove that of Rivers when you had all this Northwest, you had Benue State, you have all of those states that were having issues? The reason is this: TINUBU is interested in the money, in the oil, doesn't really care. That's why I didn't really even give a damn what was happening in the Southeast until recently, which I faulted him. That, see, number one, you can't have a space in your country under the occupancy of bandits. So how come you gave River State utmost care? And because there were agitations that are going to start blowing pipelines, you quickly remove the governor. But then you have the whole Southeast doing sit at home one day of the week. You have a whole lot of Northwest having issues, and you didn't do anything. Northeast having issues also, you didn't do anything. So I kind of agree that, you can argue for or against.
A military man went there with all the military boots on ground. They could not arrest one person. But they blamed Fubara, that Fubara was, according to the Attorney General, he has blown the whistle to his followers that will blow pipelines. Where are the pipelines blown? Where are the people that blew it? Hoax, propaganda, deceit, enchantment.
Well, you didn't get a security update. So again, I don't know why, again, you could argue for or against. On this one, to be honest with you, I wouldn't say TINUBU is totally wrong, and I won't say he's right. Unfortunately, I cannot get where it's coming from. If he had not intervened, Fubara would be gone today. And maybe that's the right thing in a democracy. And then you have more pandemonium. And then eventually you have a lot of agitations. Eventually, it might lead to more chaos. Eventually, you're going to declare a state of emergency. So again, we have to just be sincere with ourselves. But it is what it is.
Bewitchment, nothing else. No justification whatsoever to even declare state of emergency. Then even if you declare state of emergency, no constitutional power to remove elected representatives. And he did both. If you ask me, I'll say in my own opinion, they were targeting the resources of River State. And the mere fact that
might be right.
the sole administrator is even saying he cannot be probed by Rivers people is another affront to the sovereignty of the Rivers people to choose their elected representative. You came in, took their resources, and you're saying they can't ask you questions. What an insult.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no justification whatsoever to even declare state of emergency.
I agree.
The only thing I know that was happening in River State is that there was a disagreement between the governor and his godfather, which manifested in disagreement between him and the House of Assembly members. And after the Supreme Court judgment, all of them said they were going to obey the Supreme Court judgment. So what else? I would have just ended it. So, my dear, there's no justification. For me, the Supreme Court would have taken up the issue. They would have heard it. They would have made definite pronouncement, which is still not late. Because they can still, it's about interpreting the Constitution. They can still go ahead to interpret the Constitution. Let us know whether they are.
That case has been dismissed already, though. Yeah, it's been dismissed today. Today it was dismissed by the Supreme Court. Again, TINUBU won. The Jagaban won. Might not be the right thing, but again, he won. I'm not saying that I was right. I agree that he shouldn't have removed him. He should have allowed them to play their politics, because we can't be choosing winners and losers. I agree. That's why I'm saying that either way, there are arguments for both sides. But again, it's a precedence that you just want to be careful what happens with it.
Have chosen democracy or they have chosen dictatorship, because any law that gives the president the power to remove elected representatives of the people brings democracy to an end. Because whether you bring your leaders through free and fair election, the president now has the final say of who will be governor or who will be House of Assembly member. That's what it means if you say the president has power to remove elected representatives of the federating units. For me, it does not. I agree with Shetima.
So can Fubara himself go to court to challenge his removal?
I will not talk about whether he can go to court or not. I will talk about the rule of law. Fubara is entitled to his own way of how he wants his own things to be done. So, Fubara, in my own opinion, his 6 months has been illegally taken away from him. And I say he has the right to go to court to reclaim his 6 months. That's my own opinion, because Section 180 subsection 2 made it clear that the term of office of a governor is 4 years. And the Supreme Court has ruled that it's sacrosanct. That is why we have staggered elections. So if a governor is sworn in today, he would have 4 years to govern. So whether the general election is there or not, you will give him 4 years. If you take 6 months from Fubara, he now has 3 years, 6 months. And it was not his fault. At least nobody has proved that he has done anything.
Okay.
He has not waged war against the Federal Republic. There was no invasion of the Federal Republic. There was no war in Rivers State.
That's the point there.
If the 6 months was taken away from him, the Constitution says anytime it is not conducive to organize the election because of state of emergency, you shift the election by 6 months. That's what the Constitution said. So if TINUBU say it is not convenient for Fubara to govern for 6 months because of state of emergency, what it means is that you have shifted his administration by 6 months. That's my opinion. So I am not saying he should go to court or not. I'm saying, in my own opinion, he has the right to go to court to recover his 4 years. So it's left for him.
Fubara won't go to court. Let's stop the cap. It won't go to court. Right now, if he had not done the emergency stuff, if Tinubu had not done the emergency stuff, Fubara himself will be out as governor. Because it was already done. It was already out. It was Tinubu that saved him. Maybe that wasn't the right thing to do, but that was the fact of the case, okay?
Whether he wants to try that out or not. But if it's me, I will try that out.
All right, ahead of
But that's why you're not the
2027,
governor, though.
we've seen all kinds of movements. And, well, what's your advice for former President Goodluck Jonathan, who some northern leaders are wooing or advising him to join the race for 2027?
President Jonathan has his own opinion to make, and he's entitled to it. My own advice is that he should not even near it. My own advice. He should not even contemplate it.
Yep.
The same forces that nearly destroyed his name, clueless, this and that, when they were not in power.
Well, it was clueless.
The same forces are the ones now that are in power.
Yeah.
They would take his name to the toilets. They will roll him on the ground. I have been in politics. And of course, he is very vulnerable because he has been a former president. And he went against certain conventions and certain norms. And you know what? Jonathan almost governed for 6 years. People like us that are saying that we want the tenure to change to become one tenure for the president for 6 years. Then how would I now begin to say that he should be given an opportunity to now maybe govern for going to how many years?
That would be 10.
Almost 10 years, assuming he has another 10. Because he governed for almost 6 years. So, if I were in his position, now that I've acquired the status of international statesman, like the wife said, what is he going back to do? Are you trying to say there are no other Nigerians that can rescue Nigeria? Anybody telling you to come back is trying to use your goodwill now to make a political party to survive. I heard Jerry Ghana saying EDP will bring him. EDP is gasping for life. So they want to use somebody's goodwill to know whether they can escape 2027 because they know that they are dead already. So, but if a Jonathan comes in, they will still be, as in making noise. They know he will not win. It's very settled. Why? Because he's from the south. So you cannot use a southerner, in my own opinion, to defeat a TINUBU now. It will be very difficult because if there is no northerner, for instance, that is contesting, TINUBU will just buy up the whole north, give them all phony appointments, and they will not have any dog in the fight, and all of them will vote for him because they will say, "Oh, he will have only 4 years to stay." But if there is a northerner, whether he wins or not, there will be a contest because they will have an interest in it. That was what TINUBU did to Jonathan in 2015. Went and brought in a northerner and used him to cause a disruptive change to remove Jonathan. So I will advise Jonathan, if I were him, I will not run. because they would roll him in the mud. They would destroy him so much that he will regret he ever even contemplated it. He's enjoying his life so much now. You know, if Jonathan travels to any country, he's more respected than Tinubu. So what is he looking for in Tinubu's job? For me, Jonathan now has more international credibility than Tinubu. So what is he looking in Tinubu's job? He has been a former president with all the respect and all the accolades and all the paraphernalia of a former president. So if I were him, I wouldn't even think of it. There was a time I actually thought about Jonathan too. But after a while, after real close thinking, I'm like, no. It will be a minus for him. Especially after the wife, made some public comments. I think I agree with the wife on that.
What is the state of international relations with Nigeria currently?
Disaster.
Wow.
It's no longer any news that Nigeria is not having a very smooth relationship with America.
Why so?
America is the most powerful nation on earth, at least today.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard Tinubu saying he doesn't care what Donald Trump does. And I'm like, did I hear well? There is no head of state that has any modicum of international relations experience that will ever make such a public statement.
Maybe it's the right statement to make when you have Donald Trump fighting for America and saying American fault. Then maybe Tinubu also is like, okay, fine, I'm going to focus on Nigeria. And when Donald Trump started doing some stuff like reciprocity and started charging some rates, Nigeria also said we're going to charge the same rate, and then the United States backed down. I think that's the right thing to do. Tinubu shouldn't be a boy to Donald Trump. Donald Trump is going to do whatever benefits the United States of America. Tinubu should do whatever benefits Nigeria. And that's how it should be. That's how it should work. So I don't understand why that's a big problem for you. Yeah, I shouldn't really care that much what Donald Trump does if it doesn't really impact us that much. Again, it's a free market, it's a free world. What do you expect him to do? Because it's still the same set of people that would say that, we're always subjugated to the West. So if you're saying we're always subjugated to the West, and Tinubu is saying that I'm going to do my own stuff and prioritize my country, just the same way Donald Trump is prioritizing his country, I don't see any problem in that.
None. If you come to your village and there is, assuming there is a bully and he's destroying everybody, you will use wisdom when you want to address that person. No matter what you think about America, America can still keep you very uncomfortable. America
Sorry about that.
can still embarrass you, like they have embarrassed Nigeria. You want to go for your visa, after paying all those money, they will say 3 months, non-multiple. People who have interviews dying in American embassy, when they know they can't travel within 3 months, they will be shifting it. And you're saying you don't care what Donald Trump is doing. No, you care. The only thing that you are not
that's his opinion,
to handle somebody like Donald Trump.
No, I think
Wiser leaders.
No, I don't think you should, again, Donald Trump is Donald Trump. I don't think we should. I understand that Donald Trump, the United States is the world power, and also China is also close. But I don't think we should make, we are an independent country. Yeah, in terms of the way he talks, the way Tinubu should address him, I've not seen any public statement that is antagonistic of Donald Trump. If he says that he doesn't really care, that his focus is about Nigeria, I think that's the right statement to make. Or am I not understanding something?
Would have been approaching the issue with wisdom. A lot of people will now say, no, he should not submit our sovereignty to America. And who is telling him to submit our sovereignty to America? I'll be the last to advise any president not to hold his stuff when you're dealing with any nation, including America. But when I was a student, and I'm still one, of international law and diplomacy, they say in international relations, you apply tact and skill in dealing with nations and with leaders.
Yeah.
So there's nothing like America is trying to bully Nigeria. No.
Oh, okay.
The president is just incompetent in handling international relations. And if you are a Nigerian and you're Nigerian and not in good books of the most powerful nation on earth, it's going to cost you something. Now, those people who are saying, no, maybe he's standing up to America. Okay. Assuming he has very good relations with poorer nations, with our neighbors, you will now say, okay, he's doing well there. Look at what is happening in Nigeria. Nigeria is not having good relation with Niger Republic, with Burkina Faso, with Mali. And it's because of the incompetent way he handled the change of government in Niger Republic. In international relations, they will say, use soft words, but carry big stick. But this is a TINUBU that is using tough words with no stick at all. So, propaganda. He thought he can carry his propaganda to the international level. Immediately there was a change of government. He shouted, 7 days, I give you 7 days to return the power, or you'll be thrown out. Look at him. The person that has so much insecurity in his place that is not even positioned to go to war is threatening another sovereign nation. If you don't remove your, after 7 days, what happened? Even after a while, he sent a delegation, federal government delegation, and Niger probably turned it back. Because anytime you've made a boast and you don't follow it up with action,
I agree with him
respect.
on that one.
That's why when you see great countries, they talk less and do more. Before they make any boast or any statement, they know that they have 7 times the power to carry it out. But look at you. You don't have good economy, you have insecurity problems, and you're making a boast you will throw away a government within 7 days. Immediately after that, they know that this person is just propaganda, no action. Today, ECOWAS, under his watch as chairman, has split. These are poorer nations. These are Muslim nations. These are neighboring nations. And he can't handle them. So isn't it a disaster? Because of his incompetence in dealing with that issue, the 7 states of the north bordering Niger Republic, they faced sanctions, as in they could not trade with Niger Republic for more than months. He did not consult any of the governors before cutting off from Niger Republic. West Africa is still paying the price today. It is not because of military coup. Military coup has been happening. This same President Buhari that he wants to malign everything about. There were coups that happened when Buhari was there. Buhari will look very closely and know the ones that it is those civilian heads of state that are responsible, because they were either trying to change the constitution or trying to manipulate the electoral process. Buhari said that though we do not want any military regime, so also any civilian that want to circumvent democratic process will still not be tolerated. And now, without your investigating to know whether these people still want their leaders or the civilian autocrats are rigging the election or changing the constitution, you want to bully a people into the choice of a government which you do not know whether they want. And so Nigeria is now suffering with its relationship with its neighbors because of the incompetence of this leader. So the foreign relations experience this government has been a disaster. One word. Nigeria is paying the price for it, and West Africa is paying the price for it. West Africa went and made a leader, the chairman of ECOWAS. Immediately he was elected without interviewing and interrogating his capacity on the international level. So you can imagine what TINUBU did, like choosing a fellow Muslim to become his vice. When the Pope was being inaugurated, there was no Christian on the presidency, from the presidency, that could represent Nigeria. For you to know why people like Atiku are saying that Muslim Christian ticket is sacrosanct. TINUBU had to go. And when they were doing sign of the cross, if you ever tried it, you see him doing it like this. That is why our diversity is our greatest
Damn.
strength. That's why the
Damn.
Constitution said that any such association must cut across
Fair enough.
religious barriers. Section 15(3)(d).
No, but again, the Pope specifically invited him to come, and again, I've addressed this issue with respect to this Muslim ticket. I'm a Christian myself, but again, I think politically it was just an exigency that has to be taken into note. And again, that's just it. There's not really nothing much to address there. This was a very, very long interview. I got like 7 minutes more. I don't even know. Maybe I should just stop this. Okay, let me just
The
finish.
state should encourage national integration, and such associations like the presidency must cut across religious background, religious barrier. Because in section 142, the Constitution described the vice president as an associate of the president, and that means the combination of two of them is an association, and such association must cut across religious barrier. Please don't associate me with same-faith ticket. If it is a Christian ticket, I will not vote for it, at least not for now in Nigeria. Because if they're doing anything in Mecca, they might not even allow a Christian president, vice president, Christian to even enter Mecca. That's how you diminish yourself, rather than using what you.
But again, why do we have to all these? Okay, Christian is doing this, Muslim is doing. I think at the end of the day, there are countries like China. You don't have Christians, you don't have Muslims. And they're right now, the way at which China is catching up to the US, even if he hasn't overtaken it in some areas, is great. So again, I don't know why, religion is a very big thing in Nigeria, I understand. But again, why this Christian, Muslim and all that? If they are both Christians in the ends of affairs and the Muslim stuff is doing something, you could always have Muslims member as a delegation. There's no rule that says your president must be a Christian and then your vice must be a Christian. There's also no rule that says your president must be a Muslim and your vice must be a Muslim. Again, can we leave all this and really focus on competence? The same thing with zoning. Right? It's just, anyways.
Have a strength. People like TINUBU is using it as weakness, employing only Yoruba people, not all the Yorubas. Lagos axis of his loyalists.
I agree with that one.
Then Muslim ticket in order to deceive the Muslims so that you can win election. That's what it is.
Well, exactly,
So
that was what it is actually. It's either you want to win elections or you don't. If TINUBU wanted to be president, there was no way he would have taken a Christian vice and would have gotten some of those votes. It doesn't work that way. To be honest with you, it wouldn't work that way because of Nigeria is entrenched with tribalism and religious reasons also in their daily life. And again, with respect to the appointments, I kind of agree with him also. Like Lagos has gotten like substantially more than any other state in the country.
you can see how international relationship and relations have been a disaster. You see him a Muslim representing Nigeria that has more than 50% population when the Vatican was being changed. Embarrassment. If he had a VP that's a Christian, it would have just been an easy thing.
But the new Pope said specifically that he wanted TINUBU to go there. That was what the Pope said. That they wanted TINUBU to be there at the Vatican, right? Because he was saying that he wants to foster world unity between the Muslims and the Christians, and that was a good thing for him that he was even a Muslim that was invited. Again, I'm not into all this religion stuff, but I don't think that's a minus the way Kenneth Okonkwo is taking it.
He'll just represent Nigeria, and everybody will be feeling sense of belonging. And no Christian nation or no nation abroad will be saying you're slaughtering Nigerian Christians in hundreds of thousands. That's the truth.
I'm a senior member of the bar.
But again, when it comes to the slaughtering and all that, the number that Bill Maher, in the journalist, not a journalist, the Nitro host, spoke about was not just during TINUBU's tenure. He pulled that number from 2009, I believe, up until date. So what happened? Because we had dual tickets under Jonathan, Christians were still being slaughtered. Under Yaradua, Christians were being slaughtered. So again, is Muslim the cause? Correlation doesn't mean causation.
The news of the death of Arise News anchor Somto Chukwumaduagu that happened just a few days ago. What's your reaction to her very sudden death?
I was traumatized. You may not understand. One man that lost his child said losing a child is like somebody pulling your tooth without analgesics. You will never understand. When I lost my younger brother, that I was like a father to, I've not recovered from it till today. Paul Madabrochko Okonkwo. You will not understand losing a child. When that man described that thing, you will be able to understand the trauma. When I saw the father of this lady, they said he couldn't talk because of the trauma. 29-year-old lady with such level of promise. A learned gentleman. You know, we have ladies at the bar. A learned gentleman, my learned friend. At 29, the parents invested a lot into this lady. They have seen her future. Beautiful and brilliant. She was not sick as to prepare anybody that she's the pattern. And just like that, went to bed full-fledged, beautiful queen with brilliance and brains and dreams intact, only to wake up in the morning for the parents to get a call. She was not in active duty. She was not fighting Boko Haram or insurgency as to prepare anybody that anything can happen.
That's bad.
And your daughter is dead. Because of insecurity, I was traumatized because it reminded me things I didn't want to remember. You should not pray to lose a child or anybody that has ever been like a child to you. It was me, the way I'm feeling, I can imagine the way the parents are feeling. If the government has any modicum of kindness, they should be sending people every day to the parents of this young lady to be psychologists, to be making them to understand that life has not ended, because they might be thinking that they might lose interest in this life. 29 years, such a paragon, such a beauty, such a brilliant film, because there are certain jobs you can only do when you're brilliant because everybody's watching you.
I agree.
It was a very ugly experience. May I use this opportunity to extend my heartfelt condolences to the family of Somto Chukwumaduagu.
Okay.
Some year. It's heartbreaking. And you know, I'm a public affairs analyst. Keep meeting the likes of this kind of lady, and we appreciate their intelligence. Let me extend my condolences to her family, to her parents. Can imagine how young the parents are. They might even be my age, don't know.
Okay.
Then to the Arise television station, you know, I am like a family